I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're taking a look at a book you won't want to put down. It is called Betting on Your Baby. It's written by Jamie Shaw. It is a dystopian narrative that explores a world on the brink of collapse, where Western civilization clings to a dwindling hope. Today, we will uncover the profound themes of survival, resilience, and the faint glimmer of hope in an uncertain future. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Prime 7 Media for helping us put him in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. Jamie, great to see you here today on Spotlight.
Great to see you, Logan. And
Tell us a little bit
good day
about
to your audience as well.
Absolutely. I'm sure they're going to be glad to have you on the show, considering how amazing this story is. How did you come up with the idea for Betting on Your Baby?
Well, it goes back a number of years, we'll say 3 or 4 years, Logan. And I had an idea for a book of poetry, and I called it How the Petals Shiver.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to just present maybe relationships against the backdrop of the global crisis that we see today, with planet Earth. And anyhow, I subsequently, once I'd more or less written the first draft of How the Petals Shiver, I thought it would be nice to have a companion piece, and I've called that, so that follows on from How the Petals Shiver, and it's called Innocent the Buds.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was like offsetting things. And then I subsequently, Logan, I more or less couldn't stop. I kept adding the further parts to the book. Mm-hmm. And so the third one, I think third part is called A Shot of Light, A Shot of Light. And then I added some fragments, some bits and pieces. And then at the end, I had actually been writing some quatrains, in my spare time when I was watching the tennis tournaments and things like that. And I decided to add at the end a book of quaint, quizzical quatrains. Mm-hmm. And that's about 100, I think it's 141 quatrains in that, and that's in the last part of the book, Logan.
Amazing, amazing. Give the folks at home an overview of what the story Betting on Your Baby is about.
Well, it's really obvious. Clearly, the title itself refers to a number of things, mm-hmm. But clearly the main focus is generally this theme of mine of romantic relationships against the backdrop of, a world that is teetering, really, the earth that is teetering. And so I guess, we're betting on all sorts of things today. Mm-hmm. We're betting on football matches. There's a lot of emphasis on money, like places like China, India, they're turning to Western civilization types of lifestyles. And, we're really betting on our children. Yeah. And we have to make sure that we win that bet.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about the conflict and the story itself in Betting on Your Baby. It's a world that is close to being lost to oblivion, right?
Well, hopefully not. Hopefully not. I do have faith that if someone has his finger on the button, it's God Almighty, and right. Hopefully he knows what he's doing. But at the same time, human beings are given free will. Somehow it fits together with this idea of the marionette theatre. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, we do have free will. So I want to do something that makes this place a better place for me. And if I can share that vision with others, then clearly that's something I'd like to do before well, I don't say shuffle off this mortal coil a la William Shakespeare, but I tend to say, before I depart this turning, trembling globe.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Tell me a little bit about your inspirations. Are you inspired by authors? Are you inspired by movies? And if so, which ones?
Well, to be honest, I think, betting on your baby, I mean, it evolved more or less into my, as it were, my magnum opus, it really, I believe that, as John Lennon once said in a song, we haven't really got a lot of time, dancing on this earth, and Cat Stevens' song, Dancing on This Earth for a Short Time.
Yeah.
And, it's a short life, and my life I regard as a jigsaw puzzle. I think that God has had his hand in my life, as he does in every human, all his souls. And I think that that there's nothing really that hasn't been meant to happen. I think that everything has a reason, and I think all my life has been leading to this point right now. And
yeah, nothing's a coincidence. It all kind of happens by design, whether or not we understand that design or not. That's how I feel about it. Tell me, have you envisioned this book as a film?
Well, not as such, Logan. I think it would be a rather adventurous director or producer that would take it on. Yeah. But I do envisage other books that I've put together. I do have a portfolio of 5 books in print, and I published last year a book called Too Many Words, and that was a revised edition. And Betting on Your Baby was more or less, as I say, an evolution, and that occurred over a couple of years. But I actually revised 3 other books that I published at a prior time, and I totally revised them so they're the definitive versions. One is called Prayers for Bobby, loosely around the chess player Bobby Fischer. And so I think certainly there could easily be maybe a narrative there to correct some of the misapprehensions around this, what I regard him as a great man, although it's often said that no chess player can ever be a great man. I tend to dispute that. He fought for the free world, and in my opinion, he was actually a very humble man. Yeah. And anyway, that was part of my history. I had bad skin when I was a kid. I thought one day, I'll go and learn how to play chess. So I didn't go to any parties. I just learned how to play chess. But that's been a big part of my journey to this point in time, Logan.
Yeah. You're quite a prolific writer, 5 books. When did you start writing? How did you know you had the bug to be an author?
Well, I really was inspired in year 12. That's the leaving year in Australia, leaving year, high school, they call it. I think you might call it something else in the States, but high school that's year 12. And I went to year 12, and I had an English teacher in year 12 who was really one of my biggest fans, and he just gave me that ounce of encouragement, that you need at school. It's just maybe just a bit of a nudge in the right direction. And he encouraged me. So I did, in high school, leaving certificate, I could really have studied medicine. I could have studied law. I had sufficient grades to do that. But I only really wanted to study the components of the English language that make up our language, our great language today. And of course, they do study that still in English universities, and also no doubt in American universities. But that, of course, is the two modern languages. Because, of course, we had English used to be Anglo-Saxon until 1066, when William the Conqueror came from France, and he made French the language of the court, and that's how, of course, we get sort of almost like a half and half situation of German and French making up the English language. And of course we have Latin as well, and a bit of ancient Greek. So that's there of course in universities or colleges, that's referred to as the greats, ancient Greek and Latin. And yeah, it's interesting because studying other languages, like the German is a very clear language as well. I believe that diabetes, for example, is the ancient Greek word for sugar. Now in German, if you say I have diabetes, you say I have sugar. Ich habe Zucker. And so you do learn a lot from German and French and Latin and this about language. And I really had a keen relationship with language and languages. So I really wanted to learn it. And so I wanted to be a writer. But of course, Logan, unless the penny's dropped, and if you haven't got, you can write very well, or you can, I wasn't a fully fledged writer when I was 18, because I didn't really know much about the world. You have to have some understanding of what you want to say and how the world affects you and your place in it.
Exactly. You got to have a little life experience to give you a story to tell. So you have to mature a little bit beyond just being gifted with words. And you certainly are gifted with words. And we're glad that that teacher years ago encouraged you to become a writer. Jamie Shaw has written a powerful book. It is called Betting on Your Baby. It is a dystopian narrative that explores a world on the brink of collapse, where Western civilization is clinging to just a dwindling hope. Jamie, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you so much, Logan. It's been a lovely pleasure for me to meet you and make your acquaintance so much more closely. I appreciate your time. Have a wonderful time, as I like to say, and let's make it a good one.
All right. Have a wonderful time. Make it a good one as well. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.